Goldilock Bears podcast with Vincent Cloud.
John Nemetz.
And I'm Matt Hagen.
And like last episode, this is jazz, man. This is free form stream of, no, not necessarily stream of consciousness, but something similar.
It's also very, very structured in our topics.
We find a balance.
Yes, like the black and white, what is that thing? What's that symbol?
Yin yang?
Yes. Except we need three because there's three of us.
Yang?
Way to
Yin,
throw us
yang,
off. Yeah.
Yin, yang, yang.
Is this racist? What are we doing right now?
Oh gosh. I just thought we were playing Ding Dong Ditch, but
well, I'm gonna get on the AIs to generate a 3-part yin yang for us.
Oh gosh, that AI. Still around, still happening. That might be a déjà vu. I'm not sure. But instead of doing 9 topics of each, we bring a love, hate, and difference. I am coming in with a love, and John's gonna have a something. I don't remember.
I'm gonna have a hate.
Oh right, yeah. And then Matt's gonna be indifferent to something, and then we're gonna have a mystery topic, and it could sprout out any time, really.
It'll probably be at the end.
And I hope one of you has the topic because I did not.
I brought something.
All right.
Well, let's before we get into any of those topics, we like to start off with some déjà vus, and I need to do one from the previous episode. I left this off. So it's about when It's Always Sunny. The writers are relying too much on certain stuff. I mentioned how Dennis now has become the leader, and he's like, damn it, we always do this, and he breaks down characterization every time, right? Now, I didn't realize the writers were so dependent on this until this happened. Remember that season where Dennis was only on like maybe 2/3 of the season? Remember that one?
Not particularly.
No.
Oh, I feel like I'm in good hands then. But just trust me, he was barely on this one season. And it was the episode where Charlie is he's stuck at the bar. He's doing all those traps. And then the rest of the gang, minus Dennis, he's not in this episode, they go to the Super Bowl. The Eagles are at the Super Bowl. But they have Mac now, with all the waitress, with Rickety Cricket, all these weird characters. He goes, damn it, we always do this. And I was like, writers, you guys suck. You are so dependent on this scene. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And of course, did Mac have the screen presence to pull it off? No.
It was very jarring when Mac does it, right?
For sure. But yeah, that's my déjà vu.
That's a good one. I don't recall exactly what you're talking about, but I don't doubt you. There's certain laziness there, I'm sure. I have a déjà vu. So I got around to listening to Greta Van Fleet, and I swear I was listening to Led Zeppelin, and I went to the Wikipedia just to get some more background info on them. And and I read a couple little articles that did some interviews, and they kind of try to separate themselves from Led Zeppelin. It's definitely, I mean, it's obviously a huge influence on them, and they recognize that. But everything I read, like nobody mistakes them for Led Zeppelin, like a Led Zeppelin knockoff band. It's just one of their influences. And I tell you what, they sound exactly like Led Zeppelin. There's some gospel flourishes that I kind of picked up on in there and everything, but the guitar sound, the lead singer, that's Led Zeppelin. And it's not that I hate it. It's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. I'm not a big Zeppelin fan, but yeah, it is an interesting, I don't know if it's an experiment, but it's an interesting experiment of just like, if somebody could knock off the Beatles, we're gonna be that might go into some topic here today, but
they're called Oasis, by the way.
Well, I've never really listened to Oasis, so I don't know. I can't draw
Well,
People should
did
play
you guys
that.
ever hear of Klaatu? I think they're called like Klaatu or something like that.
Mhm.
They were around in the 70s and they were Canada's Beatles. And there was like at the time conspiracy theories that it was like the Beatles actually still performing but under a different name so that, they could avoid the public eye and all of that. And
Mhm.
Right.
I've listened to them and I don't know that I would have thought they were the Beatles, but I mean, you can definitely tell the influence there. It's kind of, I guess, kind of a similar thing. And Matt, you did say I should make an effort to listen to a few of the what is it, Greta Von Fleet.
Mhm.
And I did, and yeah, um, I agree with everything you said. Um, it's kind of a shame because it'd be nice to have like a band with like the instrumental talent of someone like Led Zeppelin, but without a Robert Plant like singer.
Yeah, yeah.
like
That's one of those
that, like
voices
what
where
a waste of an opportunity there.
it's one of those voices where and I think the songs all sound very similar with Zeppelin or Van Fleet, and it just kind of drones after a while. There's not a whole lot going on with that sound for me, but it's really striking. It's like I would love to hear some Pink Floyd knockoff band. Like I'd love to hear like take the best parts like Pink Floyd cover bands and bring five of the best instrumentalists and vocalists together and form like a real Pink Floyd knockoff or a Doors knockoff or Metallica or name your classic band that's going to draw a crowd, Green Day or Nirvana or whatever. Like I believe there's a lot of talent out there and it could sound exactly like all those bands.
Wasn't the Monkeys like straight up, hey, we're the Monkeys, but like we're a rip off of the Beatles, right? Like they
Mhm.
didn't make any sort of like they weren't trying to fool people, right?
Well, yeah, like weren't they like kind of like the first boy band too, in the sense that like I could be wrong about this, but I feel like wasn't their story that they were like kind of brought together by like some executive
Oh,
and um like they don't play instruments, right? Or they didn't.
I have no idea actually.
Um yeah, no, I'm making some bold claims here, but I feel like that was a
Yeah,
thing.
I don't know enough about the Monkeys to comment on that, but I think no, that might not have been the Monkeys. I was going to say, I think I saw some documentary where they pretended to play instruments, but I don't know if that was the Monkeys, so I should shut up. But yeah, I don't know that I've really listened to the Monkeys too much, so I don't know how similar they are to the Beatles.
I don't know, like
Uh,
the just a lot of the British invasion stuff, like there were obviously some standouts, but a lot of them sounded pretty similar to each other.
oh, I thought Matt was done. I was like, oh, he finally he finally had enough of this show and he's up and out.
What, I can't disappear for 3 seconds?
I was like, who knew that the Monkeys was going to strike the deepest nerve of Matt?
I'm done with this shit. Do you want to go right into your topic, or do we have any more?
I did some quick googling, and um, the monkeys could play instruments, but early on their producer didn't want to let them, and like he played everything for the first couple of albums. I think is what it's
Oh,
saying.
wow.
Yeah. All right.
But did it say anything of like, hey, yeah, we're supposed to be the Beatles? We're American Beatles, I think.
No, I was only fact checking my own thing here. I
Ah,
didn't look that up.
okay. Well, I started last time. I want someone else to pick up the
I
reins.
can start with some hate if you want.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. I hate. Oops.
Ah, hey, I
I
know that road.
nope. I hate
Ah,
Bitcoin. um, and there's a lot I hate about kind of crypto and NFT related stuff in general, but like Bitcoin specifically is problematic in ways that some of the other ones aren't. So, um, there's like certain ideals that they were trying to reach that they failed on. The execution is like horrible in specific ways. So I guess, yeah, just to start talking about specific things, like you think of like environmental impact and carbon footprint and all of that. Like the way Bitcoin and a lot of the other cryptocurrencies were designed was specifically to burn processing power in order to function. So you have a bunch of pretty high powered computer hardware all over the world, all racing to finish these like high CPU intensive processing things. And like the first one that does it successfully benefits from it. And all that other power was wasted, basically.
Well, not to cut you off, but just to touch on that point, like, isn't the whole point of crypto, it's think of it as a decentralized database of sorts, but so you need all these other computers functioning at a time in order to keep the whole damn thing running. So it's not just mining, it's also performing the core function of keeping everything running, right?
That's correct. But there are other cryptocurrencies out there that are able to be decentralized and keep everything running, keep all the ledgers up to date and everything. But it's the concept of proof of work versus proof of stake,
Okay.
which I'll admit I don't fully understand. But basically, one of them, which is the one Bitcoin uses, proof of work, is reliant on all these machines doing all these calculations just by trial and error to come up with the correct result. Whereas proof of stake is like just a different way of doing things that uses a fraction of the electricity required for a
Okay.
transaction, but also decentralized and verifying everything and
Okay.
whatnot. Um, and like I think Bitcoin just doesn't reach a lot of the goals of like yes, they're decentralized from any government banks, but then there's like seven organizations who like deal with the vast majority of Bitcoin. So there's just been like new kind of central entities to pop up that are different from the banks running the rest of the world's finances, but they're still the richest of the rich holding the power. Um, it's pretty much just been used for criminal activity. Um,
Yeah.
and like, I don't care. Like, oh yeah, buy and sell your drugs and whatnot online. Who cares? But like, like um, child pornography and stuff is like hugely funded using Bitcoin now. And um, like, it's just, I know if that didn't exist, it wouldn't take that problem away. But it's just like the top use cases of it are not like you know humanitarian
Mhm.
good social efforts. Like it's mostly used by people trying to just get around law enforcement and stuff. Um and then like the people making money off of it are people who have enough spare money that they can afford to like speculate in these volatile currencies and stuff. So um it's not really a way for people to like get out of poverty or anything. It's pretty much just like, oh,
It's like
people who have
it's a
money
lottery
can.
ticket, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of I've seen plenty of coins pop up and it's a pump and dump, somehow word gets out to buy and then who's left holding the bag? People who bought in way too late.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I understand a lot about any of it. I mean, how long has crypto been around? It's been around quite a while now. And how far has it really gone? Like it feels like it's stuck in the mud. I know, you've got your major companies that have started to dabble in it, PayPal and Visa and all these companies, they've started to dabble in it. But is crypto in any way really going to take off? I mean, I was was listening to a podcast, and somebody, they were coming on talking about, okay, for just the non-techie type of person, like talking about AI and crypto and stuff like that, like how is AI different from crypto? Like we've seen crypto just sit there in the shadows for years and years and years and nothing really comes from it. How is AI different? Well, I think we all know how AI is just different from crypto itself. But this expert on it was talking about crypto. There really isn't a great proof of concept out there. Nothing is really stuck and nothing is really perfect and nothing is really taken off. I think it'll be interesting to see what the government ends up doing with this sort of idea, because I believe that's going to be coming at some point. But yeah, I don't know enough about this stuff other than what I've read casually.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I'm barely hanging on.
And to be honest, it's not even that good for criminal activity anymore because the whole one of the whole points of it is like the public ledger of everything that you transfer in and out of a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet, is tracked in the ledger. So as soon as like someone like the wallets can be anonymous, but as soon as that wallet is tied to an individual, like you can see everything that individual did as far as transfers and everything. So on the I guess on the plus side for it, like I there's this podcast I listened to called Darknet Diaries, and they had a story about like child pornography ring that was brought down because they figured out like the owner of a Bitcoin wallet.
I want to bring up another podcast because that's what we're doing now. We're talking about other people. No, I barely like for the longest time. Well, how long has it been? Has it been since 2018? I think that's when I heard about it. Is that about right?
No, it's Bitcoin's way older than that. I
Oh,
remember,
really?
yeah, like I remember like when it was
12, 11?
Wow.
Is it
um
that
yeah,
early?
maybe even before that.
Yeah.
Um
Well,
'Cause
you
I
hear the stories
remember,
about a person paying for a pizza with, 10 Bitcoin or whatever,
yeah.
and I don't know how long ago that was.
But I don't know. I always when it came to podcast, it was just a joke. Like, oh yeah, this is real. Like it was never going to amount to anything. That whoever I think there was a UFC champ who wanted to get paid in Bitcoin
Mhm.
instead. But I'm like, well, what does that mean? And I didn't do any research. In fact, for barely any research for my own subject matter. I apologize. So it's going to be a little off this episode.
Boo, Vince, boo. Terrible host. No, I mean, you're not wrong. It's very possible nothing is really going to come of this. I think of it, if I mean, you can separate blockchain from crypto, right? So
Hmm.
blockchain is the structure that crypto is sort of built on, the crypto idea. So crypto, nothing may actually come of it. It's very possible. I think if it's inconvenient for people, it's not going to get adopted. And if you're paying large fees to take, you can put money in and buy Bitcoin, but in order to take it out, I mean, a lot of these exchanges, you're paying very high fees. So I don't really know that it makes life easier for a lot of people. I mean, it's possible it might just end up being another smartwatch or something. Like, I mean, do people really need smartwatches? That maybe that I got that on my list of topics to talk about, but
I
um,
don't know. I've been in situations where like it's socially like frowned upon to take your phone out and look at it, but then you see people like looking at their watch and seeing who's texting them.
they
I'm
do
like,
it just like that. A
that's
little pause
cool.
there.
Yeah.
Check out my new smartwatch.
So I thought you were gonna, I don't know, I guess I didn't know what you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna be like, it's fake. Stop, like stop talking about it.
Well, I
But
mean, yeah, there's a whole like financial aspects of it. Like it's all been through various levels of bubbleness and um, you know, to Matt's point about the pump and dump stuff, where a lot of the the currencies are pretty much fake. Like someone creates a scam coin and gets a bunch of people to buy in, and they sell out at the right time, and all
Absolutely.
the newbies have left holding the bag. I
And
do
then you,
think like Bitcoin has a lot of people using it who are like true believers in it. And like in the end, like for a currency to be valuable, just it has to have people
Yeah,
believing it's valuable. So I mean that's
right.
all it takes, I guess. But
mhm.
Well, they should take a cue from the blood diamond industry. Fucking, you got to be able to, jazz it up, zhuzh it up, make it more fancier. Yeah.
Zhuzh it up.
Zhuzh it.
Hey, whatever happened with the synthetic diamonds, by the way? Do people, I don't know, can you buy a synthetic diamond? I mean, do you have a choice when you buy a diamond, whether it's synthetic or it's real? I
I've
have
I
no
don't
never
know.
heard of
idea.
that.
Are they good enough? Like I know like synthetic diamonds are used all the time for like um like in
Industrial
grinders,
things
yeah,
or yeah.
industrial uses, yeah. But um I guess I might have
Yeah,
been
I don't know.
just buying
It
into the
feels like
big
it.
diamond narrative, but I always thought like you couldn't make like a pretty shiny diamond kind of thing.
I think you definitely can.
Okay.
I really don't know enough about this, but I think it's very possible that synthetic diamonds are a real thing, but they just haven't caught on. I think people are that vain that they'd rather have blood diamonds than synthetic diamonds. But I could be totally wrong about all that.
Um, Now is cryptocurrency sort of like that walked so NFT could run? Is that sort of thing? Are they
No,
connected at all? No.
I don't think so. Like, so they're both built on like the same blockchain kind of concept back end, but they're like different applications of it. Um, I think, like the NFT fad has come and mostly gone at this point, as far as I can tell. But, cryptocurrency is still here to stay.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I mean, Bitcoin, just taking that, I mean, it dropped a lot. It dropped over 50%. And I actually dabbled a little bit. I didn't buy this is my view. So I didn't even buy Bitcoin outright. I didn't sign up with any of these companies. I didn't have a wallet or anything. I actually found an ETF that invests in some crypto. Well, it's mostly it tracks the price of Bitcoin. So I bought an ETF, pay a little expense ratio, and I didn't stick a whole lot of money into it, but I just wanted to be on top of it, I guess. But yeah, that was after it crashed, so I decided to dabble a bit.
Wow.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, and maybe I'm just bitter because like I knew about it back when it was like $100 and stuff, and
Mhm.
I was like, oh man, I wish I'd gotten into it before it was too late, like at $100. And then it was like at 1,000. I'm like, oh man, I should have gotten into it back then, but now it's definitely too late. And that still would have been plenty early to
Yeah,
make a lot of money on it, but I didn't.
yeah. I was aware of it way back in the day too. I had a friend, Cole. Shout out to Cole if he ever hears this. He was into Ethereum. He was into Ethereum very, very, very early. And I don't remember all the details. Sorry about that, Cole. But I know he talked about it a number of times, and I think he was able to afford a down payment on his house and stuff like that. He made some pretty good money off of Ethereum, and he's still in it. He still believes in it. I know Ethereum went through some change, like Ethereum, like it was done in one way, and then they switched over to a different way of doing things. I don't know anything about it, but it's just very, very interesting.
Dang. I don't know how to
Dang,
feel about
right.
it. I'm out of my element, as Walter would say. Donnie. Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, I would say it's probably not worth speculating on, but I would say keep up on. I mean, watch and see how the federal government handles things, because that's going to be, I think that's going to be a key to how all this stuff shakes out.
All right. Well, should we make some sort of movement forward or backward to the side?
Yeah.
You can say the phrase, Vince.
Well, I don't want to go next. Matt, you want to go?
I can go next.
All right.
So my indifference is Las Vegas. John
Mm.
was just in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is on my list. So I thought it was a good time to do it. So I've never been to Vegas. I've never been a part of a bachelor party that's gone to Vegas or anything like that. So all I know is I hear stories. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah, you froze up there. You froze up there for like another 2 seconds. So
I froze up.
Yeah.
Well, what happens on the podcast stays on the podcast. But yeah, I really don't have a desire to go to Vegas. I guess I keep hearing if you go to Vegas, it's best just to have it just to go for a couple days and leave it at that. But I think it would be cool to maybe walk through a casino and see all the chaos and walk the strip and maybe see a show and check out all the strip clubs, Vince, and maybe eat at whatever's the highest rated buffet and gorge myself. But yeah, I don't have a big desire to go to Vegas. What do you guys think of Las Vegas? Vince, have you ever been?
Yes, I've been there twice. Yeah, I stayed there a night, and then the second time I was just kind of passing through. But I was able to see like the Beatles. I think they were called The Return, the cover band. So that was pretty sweet. There was a fat ass Ringo up there. But okay, Vegas. What is it known for? Gambling. I don't gamble because I suck at it. I never fucking win, right? So that was drilled into me early on where it's like, that's not for me. Stripping? No, you know, you already know my stance on that. Prostitutes? Same stance. You know? And then the ungodly heat. No, thank you. You know, like Vegas is bright and shiny, you know, like I got there during the day that one time, but at night, of course, it looks cool. But they offer nothing. I mean, Matt, you mentioned maybe taking in a show. Maybe, I don't know. Is Tom Jones still a thing?
I wouldn't want to see Tom Jones. Maybe his corpse is up there still singing. I don't know.
I don't know.
Carrot Top. That's more my thing.
Ooh.
No, I don't know who even has shows in Vegas anymore.
Britney Spears. She's been there for years.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
All the Cirque du Soleil stuff.
Oh,
yeah. There you go.
Did you say Celine Dion already?
No, you did. If you did, she has a residency.
I think so. Katy Perry, I feel like.
Really?
Oh, yeah?
Has or had a residency there.
Oh. Well, all right, sure.
Let's jump into John's Vegas trip.
The subject was roses. I mean, Vegas. John, were you ever saying something
about Vegas?
Yeah, didn't you just get back from there?
Yeah, so I've been to Vegas probably like 10 times. Either because there's like a conference there or like a work event, or because my sister used to live in Northwest Arizona, and that Vegas was like the closest decent sized airport there. So I'd fly into Vegas and then maybe spend a night or two there on the visit. At this point, like if there's a work event, I'd rather go to any other city. I have to go there in August a lot, and yeah, it's like 110 degrees every single day. You walk outside and it feels like you're just like walking into a hair dryer. I'm not a gambler really. I didn't spend a single dollar on my last trip there. Although I have been known to sit at the Pai Gow poker table for a while because you can kind of sit there for a long time. The games go really slow, and you can just kind of be even forever.
What is a pie gout poker table?
So it's like the format of like a blackjack table. It's you like each person versus the dealer. Um, and yeah, like Pai Gow poker is it's not really. Oh, it's kind of poker like I don't know how to explain it, but yeah,
Oh, it's a form of
basically,
okay, form of poker. That's what I was trying to get at.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
I've
yeah,
never heard,
yeah.
I've never even heard of that before.
Um, but yeah, it's kind of fun. But I only did it because the people I was hanging out with were really into it, and like if I was just on my own, I wouldn't do it. Um, I if I were to go, I would and like had the free time. I think like just seeing shows would be my number one priority.
Hmm.
Um, like last time, no, 2 times ago, I was there. My coworker really wanted to go see the magician Shin Lim, um, who was like on America's Got Talent or something. Like I didn't really know anything about him, but he was like super excited to go see him. And I was like, oh yeah, let's go do it. And like 4 of us went, and it was pretty fun. Um, yeah, we've already talked about strip clubs and that stuff, so that's not really a big draw for me. It is fun to like see like just the like, oh, here's our version of the Eiffel Tower, and like here's our version of like the New York skyline, and like here's Excalibur Castle and all that stuff. And then also like watching like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and then going to Circus Circus and seeing that it has not changed since that
Wow.
time. Like really, like it's kind of a trip and fun to do. Um, I don't know. Now, thinking back, I actually have had a lot of fun there.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it sounds
Yeah,
like the most touristy city there is out there, and it seems like there's a lot of distractions and a lot of fun can be had. And I guess it all depends on who you're there with, right?
yeah. Like also when I was there last August, we went to like the old strip or downtown Vegas or Fremont Street or whatever you want to call it. Um, and we went to like this piano bar where there was a guy who could just play just about whatever you wanted on the piano, and there was like all the staff who like the bartenders and stuff were just all amazing singers, and because they would all be in shows that were being put on there locally. Or you could also just do like karaoke style if you wanted. Like he'd play something on the piano and you'd sing along to it. That was a lot of fun.
I could just imagine you sitting on the piano, like such a some lounge act, some old
Yeah.
ass act. Yeah, I don't know. I wish Vegas had more things that I was into. It really isn't. But okay, but you've been there 10 times, something like that. What is the movie that perfectly captures a Vegas like moment or something? You know what I mean? There's Swingers, there's Fear and Loathing, Vegas Vacation.
Um, Definitely Vegas vacation.
Mhm.
Going to the buffet, taking I'll have some of the blue stuff. Oh man, one year we got the um there's like you can get a wristband for the buffets, and there's like 5 of them or so that are all connected. So for 24 hours you could just walk into the buffet and eat whatever you wanted. And we like figured out how to like expense it on our work expense reports, amortizing it over 2 days or something.
You know that sucks as well. That buffet thing. I was like, oh yes, I forgot. Nowadays, my body fucking betrayed me. Now I get full really quickly. Before I like, especially when I was fucking skinny, I could just inhale food. It was fine. But just something changed a couple of years ago where I'm like, oh, I'm like stuffed after like not even a full plate, you know? Oh, it's really sad.
It doesn't even take one plate. Is that what you just said? And you're full?
Well, I mean, it happened. Well, we were at a buffet, but we were at the Olympic Flame here in Eau Claire. Represent your Greek brothers. I'm not Greek, but I got full off like a half a euro and some fries. I don't know, man. It sucks.
Ooh.
Such a
Yeah.
lightweight now, even though you can't tell.
No, that's okay. That's probably for the best. You don't need buffets anymore.
They were so good though back in the day, man. Loved buffets.
Mm-hmm.
What else about Vegas
I love
that
it.
I don't like anymore?
I'm not a gambler either. And I'm sure I would be terrible company for people who were gamblers because well, I wouldn't go to the slot machines at all. I think slot machines are a giant scam. But if somebody gave me like $20 and said, you have to spend this on slot machines, I'd be the guy reading all the fine print and trying to find the odds on all the slot machines. And I'd be looking for my best odds or something. I don't know. It's dumb, but yeah, I wouldn't mind actually sitting at a poker table, like an actual poker table or this Pai Gow that John was talking about. It's like poker's my game. I haven't played poker in a long time. I want to find some people and get a regular poker game going. But
yeah, because like at those tables, if you play the ones where the odds are like 50-50, and they're bringing you free drinks the entire time. Like, so, I sat there for like 2 or 3 hours with some friends, had like 5 drinks and like paying tips for the drinks and stuff, and still came out like even with everything at the end. I was just like, $5 or $10 up from the playing the game or whatever. And
so a couple. Oh, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, just a couple things. I remember I went to a casino. I was dragged there. I really didn't want to go, but a couple of my friends wanted to go. And they're like, you take a bus and they pay you money and then you just hang out there and then the bus takes you back. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I get there. They stopped serving alcohol at like whatever. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I don't like gambling. I don't like, just let me get drunk then. And I couldn't even get that. It was fucking 6 hours long, 6 hours of like, I was like, I hate it here. I hate it here. Like I was really. But the other thing, I believe we played poker together, and Matt, you were pretty good. I was terrible. John, I don't remember.
I think John was pretty good. I think we all had our moments. But yeah, we used to play poker back in the day, back in high school a little bit.
Yeah.
$5 poker game or whatever. Yeah.
And then Jesse would always try and like buy out like in the middle of the game.
Or like he would cash out with a quarter left or something.
Oh yeah.
Just leave your quarter in. Nope. That's his gas money for the week.
Rich for my blood.
I loved his keep you honest.
Keeping you honest. Oh yeah. Brings me back. I think I remember going to a casino with John at one point. I think I forget which casino that was, but you sat at a blackjack table. Low stakes, but I think you did pretty well for yourself. You're pulling aces.
Yeah, that's what I try to do.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever, for fun, pull the Austin Powers where you're like, I'll stay? And they're like, we suggest you. That's good.
Las Vegas. I'm gonna end up going to Las Vegas at some point, and I'll probably enjoy myself. I'll try to enjoy myself. Yeah, I know I can find fun in Vegas.
Yeah, one kind of funny thing was like when I was walking around there with my wife, like everybody would like hassle us to like they'd want us to like sit in on like timeshare speech or
I hate
like
that crap. Maybe I won't go to Vegas.
That kind of thing. Well, it doesn't happen to me when I'm just by myself, or even when she walks around by herself. But they target couples, it seems like.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, yeah.
But so we were walking around, and this guy comes up and is like, "Hey, do you want Cirque du Soleil tickets?" And we're like, just like completely ignoring him. He's like, "Okay, fine. You don't want him. You don't want him." And we're like, "Wait." He like gave up way too easy. So we actually like turned around, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm the usher here. I was saving these for my friend, and he's not going to show up, so I'm just giving them to someone. Do you want them?" So we like went and saw this Cirque du Soleil show for free, and we were like in the sixth row, and it was like pretty awesome, actually.
And you thought it was just somebody trying to sell you
Yeah, because
something for
like the
tickets.
whole rest of the day, people were trying to like sell us stuff.
This could be a Las Vegas life hack. If you're a couple in Vegas, walk apart a good 6 feet. You won't get hassled.
That's
Don't.
the way. That's the way I prefer it anyway.
Yeah.
So that works out.
All right. Should we? Oh, should we be leaving Las Vegas, Nicolas Cage style,
To you, my
onto
man.
something else? Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I'm going to come up here with a love. The documentary Get Back about the Beatles, and this is all unused footage from a 1970 movie that was filmed called Let It Be. And what's important is that this is so they filmed Let It Be and all that music, but then the Beatles, they recorded like a album or two a year, so they went on and recorded Abbey Road after that, and then they called it quits. So like, all right, we're done. So after that, that's when the movie and the album finally dropped. And I think the director or the editor, they wanted to create a narrative that they just hated each other, like whatever little bickering they had in this documentary was put in Let It Be. So now, years later, I think it was 2021, Peter Jackson was like, he got all that footage, and he's like, they weren't at each other's throats the entire time. Like, there was a lot of love. There were a lot of laughs and stuff like that. So he released this 9-hour documentary broken into 3 parts. And even if you don't respect the Beatles, even if you don't, I don't know, it's just, I've always found it, the creative process behind work is always fascinating. Like I watched one about Metallica, and I was like, I've never heard their album, but it was interesting to see them, how they break down a song and blah blah blah. So you have these men who are their Liverpool accent might be my favorite of all time. It's like slightly beating the Boston accent and the Russian broken English accent, right?
Do you have a Liverpool? Oh, you were going to do it. Go ahead.
No, I can't. I mean, it's I used to be able to do all 4 Beatles because there are a distinct variation between all of them, but I can't anymore. I haven't done it in a long time. But so you have all that.
Can you do any of the Beatles?
Yeah. Can you do one? Can you do a conglomeration of them?
Can you do a Paul?
Oh yeah, all right. Well, Paul, yeah, I wrote the song. Right? Yeah. He's just very like wispy, very like, I don't know. Ooh. Get back. Yeah.
You want to know a secret?
That's a little bit more George. He's got a bit of a drawl. He's actually he's Wales. He's not like the other Beatles. And you might pick up on that. And then John is just a little bit up here, is a little bit more nasal. And Ringo's it's very deep. I can't do Ringo, but he's like, it's a hard day's night, isn't it? Yeah.
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. So
even with all that, like, it was basically a 9-hour ASMR sesh. I love hearing them just talk to each other, just about little things here and there. And that's the other thing. Peter Jackson, we know, is a man of excess, right? He could let movies go on and on and on. And that is what he does with this. But as a Beatles fan, I am a Beatles fan. I cherished all of it. They actually did even cover a big part of the movie but they just kind of put it in the credits, the covering of the recording of Let It Be and Two of Us, and Across the Universe. So with let's see here, I got some stuff, specific moments, but I don't want to bore you because you're like, who gives a shit if George quit, but then he made it better.
He's like, ooh, I don't want to be in the Beatles anymore.
Well, okay, I want to say this. I think George actually helped the project a lot because they started off in this very cold studio. They only have less than 3 weeks to record an album, which is weird. Like, why would you do that to yourselves? But
You're
they
the
were
Beatles,
also,
yeah. Why would you put yourself in that position?
yes, but
that was a question I kept asking the whole damn time. I only saw the first part, but go ahead.
Constraints are the best.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes.
Well,
okay.
yeah, but 3 weeks. I mean, come on.
Okay. Well, Ringo was going to make a movie of his, so they had to fit that in the schedule. But like they gave like Sgt. Pepper, they recorded so much in that studio to make that album, but they're being recorded. This was a gigantic, ambitious project where they're like, okay, we're going to record you guys making an album from scratch. It's going to be more live, more stripped down. And then it's going to conclude after 3 weeks, a return to a live concert performance. They haven't recorded, or they haven't performed on tour for 3 years. They were so huge, they didn't have to tour. They were just like, we're done. See you in the studio, you know? And so that's how it was going to end up, right? And God damn it, they pulled it off. You see them goofing around so much where you're like, guys, in like 2 days, you have to sew this up, you know? But oh man, I don't want to go into it too much because I feel like I'm the bigger Beatles fan here. Do you guys even like the Beatles?
Yeah, I like the Beatles.
Do you love the Beatles, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. They're amongst some of my favorite albums. So we've talked about this in the past, but like I can love a band, but not really look into or care about their backstories or any of that stuff that much. But I did watch all 9 hours or whatever of this over the weekend. And it was, I actually loved it. Like it was amazing to watch like the titular Get Back song come out of like nowhere. Like Paul,
that was my favorite part too. Just Paul noodling on the guitar. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off.
Well, yeah, like basically, like within a span of 2 minutes, he had like 60% of that song written. It seemed like out of nothing, like that. That was amazing.
And then it just kept getting more and more refined as he's going. It's incredible. It turns. It was just nonsense at first, and then just keeps getting more and more refined. Yeah, that absolutely the best part.
Mumbling and find like a word that rhymes at the end. And honestly, I just loved like Ringo a lot after it. Like he just sits back. He said like maybe 20 words the entire time. He just does what's expected of him, and and then like people give him suggestions. He's like, that's what I was doing. Like, okay. And then they like literally put a wall in front of him once they got back to the studio and stuff, and he just does his thing. And I was actually interested because there was a part where I don't know, someone asked like, has anyone ever left like this before? And they're like, well, Ringo did. And I'm like, oh, really? That surprises me. And I looked it up, and it was because he just thought he wasn't good enough to like hang with the rest of them, basically. So he left so they could, find someone more qualified in his opinion.
Wow.
And that was kind of funny too, because he had a conversation with Paul where he's like, yeah, it just seems like you three really have a thing, and I just kind of feel like the fourth wheel or whatever. And Paul's like, well, that's what I thought about you three. And John says like, oh, that's what I thought about you three. Like that. And that just strikes me how like even the Beatles have like imposter syndrome.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what struck me was John Lennon was late a lot. I only saw the first part, so I don't know. John Lennon came off as irresponsible. Yoko was irritating me, just the way she's just sitting there, like reading the newspaper. Why why are you on camera? Just be in the background somewhere. Um, yeah, I didn't mind it. I didn't love the documentary. I like the Beatles. I got to be in the right frame of mind maybe to listen to the Beatles, like to listen to an album. They're just not the sound I gravitate towards. What do I gravitate? I guess I gravitate towards a darker, more dangerous sound.
Oh, I thought
I
you were going to say
guess
the Monkeys.
the Monkeys. Uh, Sorry, I'm not going to hold your hand, guys. I so
Yeah, but I don't know. Like they change a lot after like what 64 or whatever. Like Rubber Soul, I would say, and later like is very different.
yeah, I know. They've
Oh,
definitely got
I
different
thought he
stuff.
was trying to meet us halfway with "I don't want to hold your hand" instead of "I want to hold your hand." It's kind of a big single of theirs. But go on,
I,
go
I don't want to hold anybody's hand,
on.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of checked in and out of the documentary. I was starting to do my taxes actually while I was watching this. But yeah. So the first part ended with
George.
George.
George leaving the band supposedly, and then they got to go and try to get him back. So that's where I left off. I
Oh,
Yeah,
might pick it up again.
you might.
Um, yeah, I just in general, like I don't know that I'm a big fan of this type of documentary anyway, necessarily. I don't know, not enough action or something going on, but
I
it was
guess that's
fine.
what I
It was
liked
fine.
about it. It's like slow TV or whatever. Like
mhm.
I mean, I like
not
seeing, like Paul, they want to drink. Oh, Paul drinks beer, or I think Paul got a beer or whatever. So and then they're all smoking cigarettes. So
I
I'm
could
kind of like,
drink
oh
beer
yeah.
too.
But then there's only, 2.5 hours of that first part of just, just like picking up on these little details. And I didn't get much more out of it. So hmm.
I will say
Um,
I love the Abbey Road album. That's probably my favorite one. And I'm not as much of a fan of Let It Be album.
mhm.
So like every time they were like, like when they're playing like Maxwell Silver Hammer or like all the stuff from Abbey Road, I'm like, oh, more of this. But then like the Let It Be stuff was obviously the focus, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm kind of sick of these ones.
Well, okay, yeah, I was never the biggest fan of this. Like, I do believe after Rubber Soul, that's where they get really interesting for me, you know?
Hmm.
But Let It Be wasn't up there for me. But then I think it's hilarious that, I mean, the Beatles, they always do it first, right? I believe they made the first album that's forever going to just come back because it was called Let It Be, right? And then because it was supposed to be a stripped down version finally, but then after they broke up, John hired producer Phil Spector and he put in strings into the album and all this other stuff. And Paul's like, that's not the point of the thing. Like the whole point was it to be stripped down. So years later, I think it was in the 90s, they came out with Let It Be naked. And that is where we finally got the stripped down version. But then cut to 2021 and we got a whole nother version of Let It Be. So I predict that this album will keep reemerging throughout time.
Fascinating. I think I'll just let it be.
Oh, one more thing. I forgot to mention this. I kind of touched on it. George quitting really in a way when he came back, it helped the whole project because they got out of that big stupid studio and they went into the personal Abbey Road studio, and they're like, okay, now we just work on this stuff. And John and Paul treated him a little bit better, they weren't so dismissive of him. And then George brought in Billy Preston to work on all the keyboard stuff. And that's when John was like, holy shit, it's taking off. We got ourselves an album, So I think George is an unsung hero when it comes to that project.
That was all spoilers for me because I haven't seen part 2 and part 3. But...
Were you gonna watch it? I didn't think so.
Possibly. I wouldn't even. I mean, the first studio wasn't even a studio; it's a warehouse, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like a giant warehouse more than anything.
Yep. Look cold, and I did not like that first part. As soon as they got out of there, it was for the better, and that's why I think George knew it, man. He knew it.
Billy Preston just seems great too. Like he was also just like seemed so happy and just like willing to do whatever they asked and like super good at it.
And I think George, he did this before on the White Album because of retentions, and he brought in Eric Clapton to work on a song, and he said, sure enough, Paul and John, they started to behave more and stuff because there's someone here, So yeah, that George.
Yeah. Bring in a pro, and yeah, everybody's on their best behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to get shown up. You want to hang.
Well,
all right. Mystery topic. Woo. So I'm bringing the mystery topic. We are, let's see, this upcoming Sunday, as we are recording this, are the Oscars. Now, I was thinking about this. Now, I haven't watched the Oscars in a lot of years, but it's kind of the only award show that is like a touchstone for me, and I think for a lot of people, where it encapsulates an entire year of movies, and it's the only thing I go back to. Like, I don't care who won a Grammy, who won a Tony, who won an Emmy, anything like that. But if you want to go back in time and see a year in movies, I always go back to the Oscars, because that's kind of,
oh boy,
that's kind of the only thing that you do. I guess you could do the Golden Globes or whatever. But so yeah, I don't watch the Oscars, and I've got thoughts on how the Oscars would be more entertaining. But how do you guys feel about the Oscars? What's your relationship with the Oscars,
John?
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting to know the winners, and yeah, I would also say like I'm more likely to care about who's nominated in the Oscars than any of those other awards you've talked about. I generally don't watch them. There was a few years where one of my friends here would have people over for the Oscars, and that was fun because we'd fill out the ballots and see who could get the most guesses correctly and all that stuff, and that was a lot of fun. And also pre-COVID, always used to go to the local theaters here that would show like all the shorts. So like there'd be like the documentary shorts, the animated shorts, the live action shorts. So that was always fun to go get to see like the best short films of the year all in one go. The last couple of years haven't watched them at all, and haven't watched a lot of movies from the year in general. I think when I was going to like the Oscar party, that was like a reason to go out and see some of those movies too, which was nice. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely the awards that I care about the most, but I still don't care about them that much.
Exactly. That's kind of my whole thing too.
I got into the Oscars hardcore, man. In fact, I was shuffling around. I do have an Oscar book on me. I think it stopped at 2003, I think. But I was fascinated with that. I actually have two books about the Oscars, the winners and the nominees. When I got into movies, I made a thing where I'm like, I'm going to watch every Best Picture winner because it's the best, right? I was like very young. So that's how I discovered Annie Hall, Godfather, On the Waterfront, all these amazing movies. And I'm just glad that
Crash,
I read about it.
Shakespeare in Love.
Okay, so it's funny because now, people are like, what, this one over this? But then you also have to remember how lots of politics in it. You have to dine with the voters. That like really helps. If you don't do that, every actor is like, well, you're screwed. Like, I think Mark Rylance, remember that guy? He won for like Bridge of Spies.
Yes. Yeah.
And everyone was like, he didn't do the shake and bake or the, you know, the meet and greet. How did he get that? But yeah. So I like the Oscars a lot. I haven't seen the show in a long time because I don't really watch anymore. And so that does suck. But I do look it up. You know, I am interested in who's nominated and stuff because I'm a fan of good acting. And that's a good place to start in those categories. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're kind of in the same thing. You've got a soft spot for the Oscars, but you don't you don't watch either. I mean, again, it's sort of a reference point. It's a touchstone, is really what it is. But I think I would like to see the Oscars like they have the Lifetime Achievement Awards. I'd like to see him go back and celebrate overlooked stuff more. You know, go back 10-year. Well, we're doing a podcast right now, 10-year, 20-year anniversary of certain movies and just what got overlooked. You know,
the Academy should be more like us.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think they could benefit from some A-list celebrity slapping some other A-list celebrity every year too. So that's something they should keep doing. Gosh. But yeah, I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to watch this Sunday. I have no intention. But at some point, I will look and see who won. So there it is.
Who are you rooting for? Any category, whatever.
Well, my favorite movie of the year was Banshees of Inisherin. Absolutely. And it's not even really close. So I hope that wins whatever it's nominated in. I'm not even sure what it's nominated in.
I think it's Best Picture. Colin is up for Best, and then some other
Best
actress,
actor.
I think, right?
Yeah, the actress Carrie Condon or something like that. I think she's supporting actress. I think I heard that. I'm not sure beyond that though. But yeah, that was my favorite movie of the year, easily.
John, you got anything?
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of movies from this year. I think I did like Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I think that's supposed to it's at least nominated for quite a few things. It'd be cool to see that win some stuff. Yeah, I don't have a lot of reference points to compare it to.
I haven't seen The Whale, but I just like the fact that Brendan Fraser, I believe he said like people don't ever pronounce my name correctly. It's like more like a Z, I guess. I'm like, God damn it, I want to see his acting, but I heard that the movie's bad. So that's
I saw The Whale, and I liked it in a self-loathing kind of way. It's very dark and depressing, and it's even the cinematography's drab, and I don't know that I bought into the story a whole lot. I liked it enough to recommend it, but it wasn't anything great.
Not even Brendan?
Oh, he was fine in it. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Cool.
Definitely. If he wins Best Actor, I'm all for it. Good for him.
That would be beating Colin, though, right?
Yeah, true.
Do you think he was the better actor?
Oh crap! I like Colin Farrell. I guess I would lean towards Colin Farrell for that. Feet to the fire.
I've wanted to make a Oscar podcast. I wanted to go and watch 5 movies, you know, like say 1995's Best Supporting Actor nominees, or actually specifically 1990, because that's Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, that's Graham Greene in Dances with Wolves. It's God, I used to know these, but I was like, if I could watch all 5 movies and I judge who should have got it, that'd be cool.
So just revisiting years and everybody up for a category and just coming up with your own conclusion.
Yep.
I think there would be a number of years where I would want to take somebody that wasn't even nominated, because I can recall a number of performances. It's like, wow, they didn't even get nominated. Screw you.
Well, I mean, I always think of Val Kilmer in Tombstone. Like, what's going on here? Like, that guy was great.
It's a good one. Good one. But yes, Oscars on Sunday. I haven't been to an Oscar party in a long time. I haven't filled out a ballot bracket thing in a long time either. So I should do that again sometime.
That red carpet, I would get suckered into that. I was like, what are you wearing?
I'm just there for the snubs and flubs.
I could go on forever about the Oscars actually, but
Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys.
Trying to keep these things down to an hour, but go ahead.
I don't know, for instance, the people that won and they were like, no, fuck you. I don't give a shit. Take it back.
Oh,
yeah.
So who did
George
that?
C. Scott, Marlon Brando.
Brando.
There are okay, well, I'm going to talk about Woody Allen. I'm sorry. But Woody Allen, he's won countless his movies, the actors under his movies, countless times, but he never shows up. And I always thought that was great. I just love that. Like he never showed up for Annie Hall,
He's never ever showed up for
once. He showed up once and he was to present, I think. But that was like the one time, yeah. But I always thought that was kind of cool. The guy's got so many fucking wins, and he's like, no, I'm not going to go.
How many wins does he have?
I don't know offhand. A lot.
Like best director, picture, writing, probably any of those. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a best picture. He's got a couple of he's writing, directing. He's got one acting nomination. But that doesn't count if you don't win, I guess. But
what
still,
was he nominated for?
Annie Hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I recall I saw I don't know, it was probably a couple months ago, but I saw Joe Pesci's speech when he won for Goodfellas, and he just goes up there and I think he says one sentence and then he just walks off. He says, thank you very much or something. I thought that was pretty badass.
Yeah, and that could be a whole other thing. Like when Jack Palance won supporting for City Slickers, he does that one-arm push-ups.
Oh yeah, I've seen that clip. Yeah.
And there's, oh my gosh, fucking Jennifer Lawrence. Her accidental trip on the stairs. Like she did that twice. Jennifer Lawrence is nothing but marketing. That whole personality thing. Like, I'm just a normal girl. I'm like, no one asked you that. Why do you keep on bringing that up every interview?
I said, is this a widely held belief, or is this just something
I hope people latch on.
Conclusion. Okay.
People, yeah, like I said, Oscars, man, you hit a vein right there, man. I could go on forever, but like, subscribe, comment. This was a few Goldilock Bear podcasts with Vince Cloud.
Done.